Then we're going to also use Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch, it's a distributed cluster for analytics on search engine. It's really scalable, very powerful clustering. It's based on Lucene for things, so it's not Solr, but it's still backed by Lucene. And that's all we are going to use in that presentation. So why use Elasticsearch in our case? Is because most of the data, at least for the part of the catalog and product in a commerce platform, are static. So it doesn't make much sense to query them every time. You can use cache and avoid to query them all the time, but the cache won't give you extra capabilities, where Elasticsearch as a repository for those data is really powerful for this. Also, one interesting capabilities we discovered from Elasticsearch in that case is that it's possible to create multiple indices at the same time. So you can store your data, split them, enrich them in multiple indices, and reconcile those data during the query and reaggregate them. One of the challenges compared to what you have in a commerce platform on Elasticsearch is that Elasticsearch indices must be as flat as possible. So you need to denormalize your objects most of the time. For example, in our case, for each product, we have one or multiple categories. But in most of the dataset we had from Hybris, Magento, and other commerce platforms, when you get the product, most of the time the category is just referenced by its ID, which is not very useful for research or rebuilding a category tree. So what we do is that we denormalize the index, the categories, and we populate the object with many information like the path, the full path, the revert path, human readable, non-human readable. So we have all the data at once in the object. So each product will have its full category tree stored under itself. So it's creating a lot of duplication, but it's really fast and powerful for search after that. So another challenge is that the GCR is a tree structure. So when you think about implementing an EDP, you have to really take that into mind, because most of the data sets you will find most probably will be flat data sets. What we call flat will be typically a database. You will access to one table, so it's purely flat. In our case, we tested with SAP Hybris. We created catalogs of up to 500,000 products. And in that case, you can't display that in one page or in one level in the GCR, because for people working with Jaya and GCR for a while, we all know that under one node, you're not supposed to have more than thousands extra nodes, data, things like that. So you have to split it. So what we do is that as soon as we index the data, we generate a system path for each product based on the hash of their SKU. So that will be the mounted path. That will be a pure system path that will make no sense for the end user. And we also generate some vanity URL, so for the SEO. And that's the one we will use in the links and presented to Google and things like that all the time. One thing that is leading with one of the consequences of that mounting point for the products is that the products are not browsable anymore in any UI or in any tree structure, because you don't know where the products are anymore, as you just hash the path for them. So only the catalog is browsable and mounted in the site. So tomorrow there will be some presentation of Commerce.io, but when you mount a platform like that, all you will find is you have all the brands on the categories, on the collection, everything is mounted in your website, and you can browse them, see the pages with Jaya templates. But the products are not accessible directly like that. For the products, we decided to go and make them only searchable. So every time you need to do a reference anywhere on your website to a product, the Hybris, the store that we are providing is coming with a new product picker, and you will have access to your picker. So you do your research, and that's all you pick. You can select multiple products, and that's extended in the module, so it's not in the core system anymore. It's all developed inside your module, so everything is wrapped up nicely. And so you can now develop your own product picker. Coming up in next versions. Another powerful usage of having an Elasticsearch in between is that now we are able to get the data out of the e-commerce platform from the products, and we can enrich them with third-party software like IBM Watson. So we have a prototype where we use IBM Watson to automatically tag the photos of each product, and it's stored in another index. So we have one index for the categories, one index for the product, one index for the image tagging. So this way we can ask Watson only when we have really new products to give us information. As most of those third party, they will charge you by the API call. It's a way also not to do too many useless calls to them. So how did we do that? In terms of the external data provider, the implementation itself, it's responsible for mapping the data from the indices of Elasticsearch to the GCR nodes. We have also responsible for the catalog tree browsing, finding the products. All of that is based on the usage of Elasticsearch connector module. So I'm going to show you start to show some code a little bit. First indexation, what's happening in the indexation process. So the first indexation happens when we save the settings right away. What will happen is that DX will request the catalog from the e-commerce system. We will get all the structure, get all the products, start to inject the products in Elasticsearch. And we are able to, right now, index up to 2,000 products in 30 seconds. It might seem a big time, but 95% of the time is fine to extract the data out of the e-commerce platform. The indexation is really fast. We tested with 500,000 products. It took from 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on the power of the system on your Hybris. After the first indexation, we run background job that will check every 5 minutes if there is new changes. That works for a 30 seconds indexation, of course, because even if the job is running every 5 minutes, it takes up to 30 seconds only to reindex. And when we reindex, we really fully reindex the catalog. So we do exactly the same process. We get all the data, we start to reindex, and only when everything has been done, we switch the index through Elasticsearch aliases. So it's an atomic operation. So it means that on the front end, you never lose any index. And they are piling up in the system. You can clean them up or put limits of how many indices you want to keep. This is what's happening exactly during an indexation. So we are creating many indexes. So like what I was saying, you have is it readable or no? No, not much. A little bit better. So we have many indexation processes. So we have one for category, one for the product, and one for the images. Then we extract for each product. We're going to merge it with the category trees, reindex the product. Then for performances issues, we are cleaning up the category indexes a second time so that we keep only the category that are used in every product, so that your editors, when they go in the tree, they will only find brands and collection that contains products inside them, and they don't have to remember which one have products. All they can see is information that have products. And then we switch the aliases. So up until this operation, everything has been done in a totally separate process for the user. So it's only the Elasticsearch cluster working. And then when we switch, the next query on Elasticsearch will be done on the new indices. Another powerful usage of the EDP is that we can implement vanity in the EDP. We are delivering a documentation on how to explain how to do that. It's quite simple to do. We had to fix and do a few things in the core system, but now it's really easy to implement Vanity in EDP. That's really interesting because it allows you to define what type of URL and SEO you want to give to your external data. And if you put a template, so you can mount directly your products, your categories directly with DX. No need for the editors to do anything again. They have the SEO, they have everything directly. And for internationalization, the external data provider is providing an interface called lazy properties. And this way you read each properties for each language. So there will be one query for English, one query for German, and every other language you have available. It allows us to do interesting things, like if your catalog is only in English and in German, but you have a website in French, you can decide in the French website to display the catalog in English or in German, depending on your informations. Of course, it will be better if you have it in French also, but if you don't have the translation for every language in DX, it's not a one-on-one basis. What's coming up in the next version of the external data provider on DX, it's the possibility to do federated search, which means that from your external data provider, you can send event to DX. And in these events, you're going to serialize your object, and it will be sent to the index created by the Elasticsearch provider of DX. And now when you do a full text search in your DX, you will find both the pages and your content, so in our case, products. So only for rendering purposes, we are splitting the pages on the products. It's just for the user to see product and pages separately. But it's only one query running in the backend. Everything is stored in only one index. So it's really a really powerful system. Another thing we are providing in the store, and that is coming from the newest version of DX, is that now you can, DX is coming with a GraphQL endpoint, which Serge Hubert is going to present in the next 2 sessions, with a nice live coding session. What you can do, in every module, you can expand, you can propose your own endpoint. And in that case, we are providing a nice commerce API that has nothing to do with the JCR anymore. It's really requesting Elasticsearch directly. And I will show you how it works quickly. So in the tools of DX, you have an API tools to play with GraphQL queries. Like I'm saying, Serge will go more in detail, so I'm just going to assume that you understand everything I'm saying right now. So you can run a query. So the first one we have, it's a query for getting a list of products. So it's taking a few parameters. You give the path where you want to start, and then you can pass a few variables to say that you want to, from which price you want to look for. And you can specify a few facets or a search. For example, here I'm looking only for jackets. And it's returning, so far it's returning only the code. But if I need to have the name or the path of my objects and products that are coming back, I can just modify the query, have it. And so this console, it's a nice way to discover the API that are offered by any tools in DX. I guess Serge will go more into detail into this in the next half hour. I'm going to show you how do we declare that in the code quickly. So an entry point like the CIO products that we just seen, it's going to be one product. It has to extend. It has to be annotated, and we don't see the annotation. Voila. So it's annotated as a GraphQL field, And from there, you can describe everything that you're returning, all the parameters that you're taking. And like I was describing, this one is not doing anything from the GCR. It's a pure services, so it's getting a service from Elasticsearch, the connection to Elasticsearch directly from OSGI through the Elasticsearch connector. And from here, we are building a pure query of Elasticsearch and returning the data by serializing them in JSON again and sending them back. So it means that it's gives us possibility to do a lot of really nice components that are done in React. The way the products and the facets are generated in all the screens that you've seen on the Eli will do a demo tomorrow. It's possible to do research that will have auto-completion or that will start refreshing the facets on the product list on the first stroke of the keyboard, because we have total control of the index inside the module itself directly, so we can decide what we want to do for every field, or we want to aggregate them. Another thing that is interesting with that entry points is that we have one entry point that is going not to the GCR and not to Elasticsearch even, is going back to Hybris directly to get the information for the price on the out of stock. So once the user has done the search and stopped searching, after 100, 500 milliseconds that we have done the rendering, we start to do query for each product on the page to get real-time information from Hybris about the position of the stock on the price. So it means that even if we are between two indexation, we still have really accurate information about pricing on the out of stock. We have the latest one from the system. Let's do a nice questions and answer session. We have another 5 minutes. Any questions?
Who wants to debug Cedric's code?
No question? No.
Just one question about the reindexation of the catalog.
Yeah.
Is it possible in some way to get the difference? I mean, was the current state of the product not to reindex everything, or it's just by the external API is not?
It's totally possible. So when you ask Hybris, what we do is we send the last timestamp of the catalog that we indexed, and it can send us all the differences right away, and we could update the index. Just updating on the cluster, it's a little bit less fast, and it might block the index on Elasticsearch. There is a trade-off. We know that for if you need to index or have the data in real time, it might be more interesting to update. If your product catalog is updating once a day, it doesn't make sense to do that. It's easier to index in 30 seconds, do the full process, and switch at the end. So it's really a trade-off. There is no position. It depends also of the API you have. Some of them, they don't have timestamp. Also, they will return you everything or nothing. So you have to do a trade. But this one was really more about performances. We tried. Even for 100K, we were at 40 minutes for 100,000 products. So it means that even if you update every hour, you're still in the same range that it's fitting, and you have maximum 40, you are 1 hour behind maximum the update of the product. You can also go in the backend and force indexation. There is many possibilities. It will be also possible to update and do things directly. Yes.
Okay. But with this index widget, it reaches basically the 100% availability.
Yes. Yeah. Other questions?
Thank you very much, Cedric.
Thanks, everybody.
Big round of applause.
I leave.